wrong things. In a state of emergency, who was I trying to be? From the time of being sad is over, and you miss them like you miss no other. And being blue is better than being over it, over it. Now you sinner, stand up, sing hallelujah. Show praise with your body, stand up, sing hallelujah. And if you can't stop shaking, lean back, let it move right through you. Say your prayers, say your prayers, say your prayers.
You're listening to the HoloNet on Mojo 50 Radio. The millennial conservative resistance begins right here, right now.
The new millennial conservative resistance doesn't need to begin right here, right now with you. You were listening to, and God, I hope you're watching the HoloNet on the mighty, the powerful Mojo 50. Today, it is Saturday. It is the 25th of January in the year of our Lord 2020, in the third year of the Trumpian age. And hey, it is the roaring 20s, baby. And I did want to let you know that you and I, right now, if you're watching the video, are you looking into my eyes? Look deeply into my eyes. We have a very special anniversary today. You and me. That's right. You and me. So I'm raising a glass, lifting a toast to us, because today marks 3 years. 3 years of the HoloNet. Nice bit of that white wine. Yes, 3 years. 3 years ago today, the HoloNet was born. It wasn't here on Mojo 50. It was on the previous network, Lanterns.buzz, all of whom over there I still have quite warm feelings for in the cockles of my heart, in the cochlear region of my heart. Great people. And Dylan and Steven came up there. I know Watson Prunier also was a Lanterns.buzz talent now over here at the family Mojo 50. And we're so glad to be, so blessed and so happy to be. Man, 3 years I've been doing this. You know? 3 years. I've always been this kind of weird person. I've been the sci-fi nerd and the political nerd at the same time, but the fun thing is I'm a conservative, right? So whenever somebody hits me with this Star Trek is socialist, absolute complete and total bull, it always really pissed me off, because I'm like, no, it's not. It's a post-scarcity technocratic economy. It's a situation where, because energy has now become plentiful through the perfection of nuclear fusion and matter-antimatter reactions, and matter-energy replication is a thing which exists because you have transporters and replicators, that there is now no more material scarcity in the world. So that allows for the interesting mixed economy that you see in Star Trek, where, you know, when you're dealing with outside races like the Ferengi or somebody else, or another race that's not as evolved or as prosperous as Earth and the Federation, they still deal in money, so you deal with them in Federation credits, or gold-pressed latinum, which is another galactic standard currency. But inside the Federation itself, on Earth, there is no, per se, money. There is still limited private property rights, like, Captain Sisko's dad owned a restaurant, Captain Picard owns Chateau Picard, and his family own that, and they're vintners, and I presume that, they're not just giving out bottles of Chateau Picard. I would assume that because it's such a craft item, that there'd be some sort of intrinsic value assigned to that, and some sort of barter system or trade. But, I digress. You have all these people who are out there screaming how socialism is the future, and look, you know, you're such a Trekkie, Matt. You know, Star Trek shows that socialism is the future. No, because until we reach a point where we have complete and total lack of scarcity, even the type of mixed economy that Star Trek and Gene Roddenberry's vision presented isn't possible, because you're still going to have the constant flow of need to want or need to lack thereof that flows through and creates the river of capitalism. So keep that BS. And the reason why I even got onto that is I watched the first episode of Picard, and brace yourselves if you're a Trekkie. It's not bad. It's not bad. Okay? It's dark. Don't get me wrong. It's a little dark. But you kind of expected that. A little more of a nihilistic view of the world. Starfleet not living up to its vaunted ideals. Despairing and dejected Jean-Luc Picard. One with a very bruised ego. And one mourning some bad decisions that Starfleet made. Hey, I'll leave that to my brothers and sisters over on Odyssey One Station. Russ Haslidge and his team. Fantastic people, by the way. If you haven't listened to them, please do check them out. Odyssey One, ODYSY 1 Station. That is our sister station here at Mojo 50. They handle the sci-fi and the paranormal, and they have some great programming on there, like I believe it's the Seventh Rule, with Sarek Lofton, formerly hosted by Sarek Lofton and Aaron, but unfortunately Aaron passed away. But I digress. I got so far off topic there, man. I'm not even on off track with Whiskey 6, and I got derailed. Come on! No. So, hey, real quick, if you're watching this on Facebook Live or if you're watching this on YouTube, I solved my picture-in-picture problem. Yes, I am now of the techies. I have the techs, and I made the techies work, and it's beautiful. But before we do that, I want to tell you about some other technicals that are really important. It's Musitech. If you haven't been on musitech.net yet, please do check them out. Musitech.net is Tampa Bay's full-service audio-visual solution, and they also have a lot of services that are available for people outside of the greater Tampa Bay area. So I'm going to pull that up real fast here just so I can make sure I get it right. There we go. So let's see here. Come on. Okay. Yeah, Musitech.net, they have event planning and services, DJ packages as low as $349. That's if you're in Tampa Bay. If you're not, they have pro audio visual equipment. It's new stock, new tech, and they even have top quality rentals if you're going to be in that area as well. But if you're out of that area, they have really, really great equipment for, you know, your musician starting out, your podcaster starting out, like, hello. Pro mixing equipment, I've got that tossed up on the screen right now. Professional microphones, event speakers, and of course a wide range of consumer audiovisual products. So check them out. Get on musitech.net. Musitech.net. Check out the audio equipment and the video equipment that they have available there. Fantastic people, and I know sponsors of That's What She Said and of Mojo 50 at large. So musitech.net. Make that happen today. So quick thing that I want to touch base on. I could well, you know, since I'm pretty much killing myself with copyrights today anyway. So let's see here if I can pull that up. Are you lonely? Are you? Because according to studyfinds.org, alone all the time, over half of adults describe themselves as lonely. Now this is from London. If you feel alone most days, you're not alone in that feeling. A survey of 2,000 British adults found that over half consider themselves lonely, largely because they're too busy or shy. Yes, you do look lonely. Or too shy to socialize with others. Among respondents, 28% said they don't have enough time to socialize. Another 33% said they struggle to find friends with similar interests. And over 36% said they're simply too shy. Others blame social media and money problems. 20% said they do all their correspondence online, while 30% attribute their loneliness to a lack of money. Younger British generations seem to experience loneliness more often than the general population. While 52% of all participants admit to feeling lonely at one time or another, the number balloons to 68% to those surveyed between 18 and 24, compared to 41% of people 55 years old. Yeah, go ahead and drop out Panic right now because I'm going to get killed for copyright today anyway, but I might as well have a good time with it. But yes, do I look lonely? Apparently you do. You know, I'm gonna take kind of a broad view of this. Do you know why we're lonely? It's not because we like all this, poppy soft rock. If I may wax poetical for just a second. It's nice wine. I actually have a theory about why we feel lonelier, why we feel so lonely. Lonely, I'm so lonely. It's something that a lot of my colleagues have addressed, and it's a cultural thing. It's that in society, men were often looked at to be the initiators of social contact, specifically between the sexes. Between the genders. So in the world of Me Too, in a world where a man is arrested for approaching a young woman on a footpath, crossing a bridge, grabbing her arm, which admittedly is poor form, but grabbing her arm and then vapor locking, just freezing up because he has no idea what to say. He's never interacted with a woman meaningfully in his life. His testosterone level must be preposterously low, and he's probably estrogened out and full soy intake, total soy boy. Let me see if I can hit 3 or 4 more Alex Jones tropes while I'm at it. But these feminized men, these weak men, and this is coming from a guy who was raised by a single mother, and I honestly think my mother probably has more testosterone than you. No offense, Mom, but woman's a hard ass. I digress though about talking about my mom. But since men are historically the instigators, the initiators of social contact between men and women, if men are not making that overture, that initial role, that pursuit, if you will, of contacting a woman who grabs their attention, who is attractive, who is intelligent, who is well-spoken, who is desirable, and not just limited to the physical sense, but if the man fails to initiate, and in a society where women are still looked down upon who initiate contact because, they get called a whore or they get called a slut if they take any provocative action, if they go looking for it, as it were. In this world where men are afraid to initiate or have become so cucked that they're unable to do so, and women are similarly societally bound to not initiate contact with the opposite sex, of course people are lonely. You've taken the driving force, you've taken the impetus out of romance. You've taken away any incentive for a man to reach out to a woman and to make the initial overture. Because yes, there's a give and a take, and a man needs to learn to accept rejection, just as a woman needs to learn to accept rejection, as seldom as it occurs. But if that initial overture never takes place, then it's ships crossing in the night. Then what you get, eventually, is what's happening in Japan right now, where people are so disengaged from one another. Even in Germany and UK and in France, birth rates have plummeted in the Western world, in the greater Western world, even in the Eastern world, as I said, Japan. The reason being, people are not initiating personal contact. We don't talk to one another anymore. We don't strike up a conversation. I mean, we go back to Gillette, the best a man can be, or the best a man can get. When you see a man who is noticing an attractive woman and is making that initial overture, even if it's a cat call. And he runs up to the woman, hey, baby, you know, I want to talk to you. And his broham, throws an arm across the chest and says, nah, man, that's not right. Leave her alone. What if that was to be the moment that man and that woman fell in love? What if him making that overture was welcomed? What if, because we're so obsessed with preventing a woman from ever feeling socially uncomfortable, or really preventing anyone from feeling socially uncomfortable, that we stop this altogether? That's when you get stagnation. That's when people don't meet, people don't touch. We all become completely antisocial to one another, except here. Online. On the interwebs. On social media. On Facebook. On Twitter. On YouTube. On Instagram. On Tumblr. Vine, or whatever the kids are using today. TikTok, or whatever it is. The 6 or 7 apps that I don't use, because apparently at the ripe old age of 30-3, now I'm old. Because I'm on Failbook all the time. How much of a kick in the nads is that, by the way? Getting told by, like, kids in their 20s, oh, Facebook's for old people. Dude, I had a MySpace. Bite me. Facebook's for old people. Friggin' spare me. But how much of a quandary is that? How do we proceed as a society with that fear? With that inability to create just the basis of human contact with each other? I mean, I don't know if it's more 1984 or more Demolition Man. And that's happening right across the pond in the UK, and it's not far here in the US. I know a lot of people my age aren't settling down, or they are settling, and they're settling a little too easily, if you get my drift. People settling down with really people that they have no business settling down with, where they're completely incompatible, but they go, but I'm never going to meet anybody, and I'm X years old, and, you know, because we don't go out to bars anymore and buy the hot chick down the line a drink. You know, we don't get somebody's phone number on the street. Swipe left, swipe right. You know, there are people out there, and granted, not me. I've been off the market very proudly for a long time, ladies. But there are people out there that just, you know, get online to like these, I think it's Grindr for gay people and Tinder for everybody else. And they just have this meaningless, gratuitous, one-night stand, online-fueled sex. But they don't have any of the attachment that comes along with it, any of the interpersonal relationship. They don't build the relationship there. It's very transactional, without money actually changing hands, if you get my meaning. I think we're losing our soul. We're losing our romantic souls. So men, we need to trigger a rebirth of chivalry. If your woman ever opens a car door again in her life, you failed. I have 3 little boys. And it hurts my heart, the world that they're coming into, because I want to teach them to be men. My goal as a father is to teach them to be men, to be chivalrous, to open a door for a lady, to pull out her chair for her, to be polite in this way, to defer to their elders and to authority figures, and yes, to ladies. You soften your speech in front of a lady. You don't speak coarsely. You know, you save the gutter mouth for when you're outside with the boys. And I'm teaching my sons traditional values. And they're going into a world where those values may not serve them well. But I know that those values are superior. Intrinsically and objectively. So what is a father to do? The only thing I can do. Teach them to be the best men that I can. And hope and work toward the world coming around in time for them to be men in it. And if I can't make it do so, hope that perhaps their generation will. Heavy stuff on a Saturday afternoon, isn't it? Well, we've got 3 minutes left in this one, so do a quick spot here. I want to talk about American Pride Roasters. American Pride Roasters, APR Coffee. American Pride Roasters, the official coffee of Mojo 50 Radio, the official coffee of Doc Thompson's Daily Mojo and all the Mojo 50 network. You have Doc Thompson's Bacon Blast Dark Chocolate Edition, which is a classic. Silent Cal's 3-pound box, the Calvin Coolidge of APR Gold. That's one that I have actually got on my list to try. You've got Izzo's Rage, the angriest coffee in recorded history. And, of course, Ron's Sexual Chocolate. And On the Roof, $20, same as downtown. All these wonderful brands of coffee can be yours. You even have Brandon Morris's Code Monkey Blend. Brandon Morris has got DM. Come on, you're killing me, man. You're killing me. I know it's a great honor to have a coffee named after you, but come on, dude. HollowNet Fuel. Let's make it happen. Anyway, AmericanPrideRoasters.com. AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Drink the coffee. It's good for you. It's good for what ails you. Coffee makes you harder, faster, stronger, longer. All that fun stuff. If you listen to Izzo's show. Guys, it's a great company. It's a great business. Longtime partners and friends of Mojo 50. Get yourself a good bit of brew. Go to AmericanPrideRoasters.com. When we come back, still got a lot of stories I want to go through. Just to give you kind of a 35,000-foot view before we go to commercial here. We're going to do one more story here over in the UK. London's police are deploying facial recognition cameras across the city. This has been something that's been coming for a while. Sargon of Akkad has reported on this, that there was a man who was actually fined 90 pounds British currency for hiding his face from a police facial recognition camera while they were testing it. It wasn't even live yet. And we're also going to talk about the latest in the Ukraine impeachment saga from Rudy Giuliani. Apparently there's a new secret Trump tape. This is starting to smack a little bit of Watergate. But all that and more when we come back from this quick break here. You're listening to the HollowNet on the mighty Mojo 50. Stick around.
Afraid to lose control and caught up in this world. I've wasted time, I've wasted breath. I think I've thought myself to death. I was born without this fear. Now only this seems clear. I need to move, I need to fight. I need to lose myself tonight. Go with me now. I'll take you now. Go with me now. I'll show you how. I think with my heart and I move with my head. Something I've read. I stood at the store before I'm told, but a part of me knows that I'm growing too old. Confused what I thought with something I felt. Confused what I feel with something that's real. I tried to sell my soul last night. Funny, he wouldn't even take a bite. Far away, I heard him say,
Holonet on Mojo 50 Radio. The Millennial Conservative Resistance begins right here, right now.
And we're back. You're listening to Holonet on the mighty Mojo 50. Sorry for the repetition there. I shut off my own microphone like a genius. But hey, folks, we got to do it. This is definitely a story from London. I know I missed one before, but we're going to jump over the pond. Hit it. And that's right. We're looking at a story from London. London police to deploy facial recognition cameras across the city of London. Privacy campaigners calling the move a serious threat to civil liberties, as is anyone else with a lick of common sense. Live facial recognition cameras will be deployed across London, with the city's Metropolitan Police announcing today that the technology has moved past the trial stage and is ready to be permanently integrated into everyday policing. The cameras will be placed in locations popular with shoppers and tourists, like Stratford's Westfield Shopping Centre in the West End, reported BBC News. Each camera will scan for faces contained in bespoke watch lists, which the Met says it will predominantly contain individuals wanted for serious and violent offenses, or anybody who happens to piss them off. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, isn't it? I mean, let me see if I can pull this up here. Do you guys remember the movie Minority Report? Okay, I'm going to throw this up on the screen here and probably get myself crap kicked by Facebook and by YouTube, but who cares? So we're going to pull this bad boy up right here. Hang on just a second. I'm pulling this up right now, just to see if you guys remember this as well as I do, because this is coming to a future near you. I mean, our phones practically do it already. So here we go. Like I said, our phones practically do this crap to us already on a day-to-day basis, but this is now going to be everywhere for us. This is going to be, you know, in your school, in your work, all of it. So here it is, the mall scene from Minority Report.
A road diverges in the desert. Lexus. The road you're on, John Anderton, is the one less traveled. Make sure you follow the
Good evening, John.
You can move the old-fashioned
John Anderton.
Every 20 night stands provides gourmet cuisine.
John Anderton! You could use a Guinness right about now.
Stress out, John Anderton.
Escape from it all, Harrison District. Get away, John Anderton. Forget your troubles. Let's go, John Anderton.
So there it is. It's the famous eye scan scene from Minority Report. So this is, you know, the personal advertising of the future. And this is why, if you remember the movie, he actually had to get his eyes swapped out. It was pretty rough. But they don't actually need to do that now. They have the ability to accomplish the same feat just by scanning your face. Facial recognition software has advanced to the stage where it basically captures your face and assigns it a sequence of numbers, a numerical coding that is completely unique to you. And in that manner, they don't need a tiny little camera that perfectly tags your retina, because that seems a little bit unlikely. No, it can scan your whole face, assign your face numerical values, and just as easily track you. China already has such a system in place, and hey, they developed it in the UK, and now they're deploying it in the streets of London. Said they'll be on bespoke watch lists. Now, if anybody's ever bought a bespoke suit, that means custom tailored. And the Met says it will predominantly contain individuals wanted for serious and violent offenses. But when the camera flags an individual, police officers will approach and ask them to verify their identity. If they're on the watch list, they'll just be arrested, even, if they didn't happen to do anything at the time. They'll be arrested. This is a system which simply gives the officers a prompt, suggesting that person over there may be the person you're looking for. So says the Metropolitan Police in a press release. Operational use of the cameras will only last 5 or 6 hours at a time, says BBC News, and the Met makes it clear that the use of this technology is the new normal in London. Do you know? It's the new normal. That's all it is. It's not a big deal. It's the new normal. It's just how things are. And if you live in the UK, you don't have a choice. It's the new normal. And guys coming to a city near you in the United States, you better believe that cities in the US are already looking at this technology, because there's no law against it. There's no law expressly against using facial recognition technology. We use it in our airports already. As a modern police force, I believe we have a duty to use new technologies to keep people safe in London, said the Met's Assistant Commissioner Nick Fgrave in a press release. Every day our police officers are briefed about suspects they should look out for. Facial recognition improves the effectiveness of this tactic. The use of facial recognition by law enforcement in the UK has previously been limited to small trials and public events like concerts and football matches. Such deployments have been widely criticized, and data from one trial indicated that 81% of matches suggested by the facial recognition system were incorrect. How about that? Oops, I'm sorry. I thought you were a terrorist. Tough luck, you'd spend 3 days in jail. Ooh, and we're really sorry about that no-knock warrant that we executed on your house. It really is a shame that your father thought we were breaking in and we shot him. Seriously, ripped from the headlines of tomorrow, folks. This is the kind of stuff that happens. Despite this, the Met calls the technology tried and tested and says the algorithms it uses from biometric firm NEC identify 70% of wanted suspects and only generate false alerts for 1 in every 1,000. That's not even a whole percent. That's several zeros, or if you're in the UK, several noughts and then a 1. It's like you're in Arthur Christmas. You're 0.0000001% margin of error. You don't even count. You're not even a whole number. Privacy advocates describe the deployment of the technology as an attack on civil liberties. The use of facial recognition around the world has been criticized by many tech experts and privacy advocates who note such systems are often racially biased. There it is. That's the reason why the left will be concerned. And are misused by police. Even some big companies like Google, I have to make fun of their name because it's habit, now back a moratorium on the technology. So even Google is saying, I don't know, guys, this new technology might not be ready. Never mind the fact that my phone listens to me 24/7 and delivers me tailored advertisements. If I talk about toasters enough, toasters. Everything on my phone is going to show me an effing toaster for the next 3 days now. Jeez. It's going to be a scary world, technologically speaking, isn't it? So moving right the hell along. President Trump, just yesterday, was the first president ever to participate in the March for Life. And even Slate wrote, the March for Life was a march for Trump. He's the first sitting president to attend an anti-abortion event. Just inside the metal detectors at Friday's March for Life rally, 2 students from Christendom College in Front Royal, Virginia, stood holding a giant American flag. Like hundreds of other demonstrators at the annual anti-abortion gathering, one of them, Tom, 21, was wearing a Donald Trump hat. The president was scheduled to come to the National Mall to speak at the event in an hour, and Tom was stoked. Ooh, Aren't we an edgy boy writing Stoked in Slate? It's really important. It's a really important statement for him to make, to be here, especially with all the impeachment stuff going on with the Democrats, Tom said. It's showing his strength. He's the most pro-life president in history. You know, he came by a little late, but we'll give him credit for it. That message, that no other president has indeed opposed abortion more than Trump, was the driving narrative of Friday's event. Indeed, no other sitting president has ever attended a March for Life. The Susan B. Anthony List, an anti-abortion nonprofit whose affiliated PAC recently committed $52 million to re-electing Trump and Senate Republicans this year, filled the crowd with signs featuring an image of Trump's face and the words, "most pro-life president ever." Of the dozen or so attendees I talked to, the author, not me, almost everyone agreed that Trump was the best president their movement had ever seen. Well, gushing praise, even in an article in Slate. So President Trump making a bit of a coup there. Well done. And I think a big win. And I have to agree with the assertion that especially in the face of the impending impeachment trial, impending more like in progress impeachment trial, bold move. That's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for him. Now, speaking of the impeachment, because, you know, I have tried to avoid it last week, I couldn't avoid it this week. It was everywhere. It was in the raccoon wounds. It was... Your poison running through my veins! There was poison running through my veins. Holy crap. I mean, you couldn't get away from it. Just Adam Schiff just staring at me with his dead eyes. Like a doll's eyes. Until he bites you and those doll's eyes roll over white. And then you hear the horrible screaming. And despite all the hollering and the banging and hollering, they just come in and rip you to pieces. Suddenly turned into Quint from Jaws there. I'm going to blame the wine. Anyway. News story out here about the Trump impeachment. This from Fox News. According to Rudy Giuliani, there is apparently more evidence. There's a secret Trump tape. The Ukraine saga took several new turns in the thick of Senate impeachment proceedings on Friday, as reports surfaced of a private recording of President Trump venting about his since-ousted Ukraine ambassador, and Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani made a litany of accusations about the Biden family's dealings in the country. Giuliani on Fox and Friends Friday teased that he would reveal evidence of shocking new crimes in the coming weeks related to the controversy. Quote, "I'm going to present over the next 2 to 3 weeks shocking crimes at the highest level of government while the Senate is listening to a totally phony group of stories about non-impeachable offenses," Giuliani said. He made several claims about supposed bribes concerning the Bidens during an interview on Friday morning. Giuliani for months had focused on the circumstances surrounding Hunter Biden's past board position with the Ukrainian national gas firm Burisma Holdings and his father Joe Biden's role in ousting a prosecutor who had been looking into the firm's founder. The issue is what President Trump pressed Ukraine's newly elected leader to investigate last year, touching off a chain of events that would lead to his impeachment. Giuliani quoted, "You know, I started investing Biden 2 years ago when he was thinking about running for president. I thought he'd never run. I'd never think he'd run." Come on, Rudy, that's bad English. Quote, "I wasn't investigating Biden, but in the middle of the corruption presentation, one gentleman said to me, 'Well, you know about the Biden bribe?' And I said, 'What are you talking about?' And he said, 'Well, Biden got paid off, and he went out and he forced a prosecutor out, and not only did he get his son out, he got Burisma out.'" So Giuliani said, "This is the tip of the iceberg. Would you like me to give up? Would you like me to say, okay, Biden can keep his $8 million that he got in bribes? He can keep all the bribes they got?" It's not exactly clear what Giuliani was referring to. Meanwhile, he teased on Twitter early on Friday that he would give, quote, "some new evidence about the extent of Dem corruption." So this week could be even more entertaining now that we've gotten over the hump of Adam Schiff's reading of 1 hour worth of materials that stretched over 8 hours. Twice. But speaking of people slinging around money to get their way politically, actually, hang on, we'll come back to that in a minute. Seems rather Beckian to talk about, spooky man George Soros. But I want to talk to you really quick about Charity Magnets. If you haven't been on charitymagnets.com yet, please do so. Charity Magnets designs and produces beautiful, high-quality products for law enforcement supporters and enthusiasts. Their community includes law enforcement professionals and their families, first responders, corrections officers, members of the military, and private citizens dedicated to honor, integrity, and helping others in time of need. Your support is sincerely valued by the brave men and women of law enforcement. For each sale, a donation will be made to Cops for Kids with Cancer. They have some wonderful items on there. You can get an honor badge car magnet, a canine honor badge dog tag, honor badge keychain, and this is all on charitymagnets.com. Again, charitymagnets.com. Support your Leos, support your law enforcement and your military servicemen and women. It's a fantastic group, and they have a lot of fundraising opportunities out there. Their charity partners, for example, they have the Blue Honor Foundation, the Maple Park Police Department for Special Olympics, Pulling for Special Olympics, and as I said earlier, Cops for Kids with Cancer. Check that out right now, charitymagnets.com, charitymagnets.com. So George Soros, what's he up to? Apparently George Soros is starting a $1 billion school to fight nationalists and climate change. This is according to Bloomberg Green. I want to talk about stuff that they're sneaking at the last minute. This story came out, seriously, at 1 in the afternoon Mountain Time on Thursday. You never heard a word about it. Billionaire George Soros said he will commit $1 billion to start a global university to fight authoritarian governments. Hold on. They use two separate words, and they mean different things. In the headline, it says, "School to fight nationalists." Right? Right? In the lead, which is the first paragraph for you, non-journalists out there. Non-journos. Billionaire George Soros will commit $1 billion to start a global university to fight authoritarian governments. I hate to tell you, Bloomberg, these two words do not mean the same thing. Okay? Let's go to Google. Define nationalism. Identification with one own's nation and support for its interest, especially to the exclusion or detriment of the interests of other nations. Advocacy or support for the political independence of a particular nation or people. I rather like that one better. Define authoritarian. Favoring or enforcing strict obedience to authority, especially that of the government, at the expense of personal freedom. See how these are two entirely different things and you're using them as synonyms? That's bad writing. Shh. They will fight authoritarian governments and climate change, calling them twin challenges that threaten the survival of our civilization. The Open Society University Network will offer an international platform for teaching and research, the 89-year-old said Thursday at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. The university will be launched through a partnership of the Soros-backed Central European University and Bard College. Soros said, "As a long-term strategy, our best hope lies in access to quality education, indoctrination, especially an education that reinforces the autonomy of the individual, more like the collective, by cultivating critical thinking, blind obedience, and emphasizing academic freedom, intellectual orthodoxy." Oh, it's so crazy how he says the thing and he means the exact opposite of the thing. I mean, it's Orwellian. It's doublethink. In his speech and a follow-up question and answer session, Soros covered a wide range of issues, including the, quote, overheated U.S. economy. I think you mean prosperous, George. I think you mean record-shattering. the dominance of Facebook and the autocratic rule of Xi Jinping, okay, Narendra Modi, Jair Bolsonaro, hang on a tick, and Donald Trump. Hang on. Defining authoritarian once again. Authoritarian. Hang on, I gotta switch my audio output back over here. Hang on just a sec. Hang on. Here you go. Authoritarian, favoring or enforcing strict obedience to authority, especially that of the government at the expense of personal freedom. What the hell has Donald Trump ever done that could strike you as authoritarian? I'll wait. Go ahead, comment below. What has he done? What policy has he set forth that you could actually construe as authoritarian? You can't find one because it doesn't exist. Good on you, Bloomberg. Donald Trump, whom he called a con man and the ultimate narcissist. First one, maybe. Second one, hell yeah. He's definitely a narcissist, no question. Quote, taking into account the climate emergency scam and the worldwide unrest, which you've instigated in many places. Oh, it's not an exaggeration to say that 2020 in the next few years will determine not only the fate of Xi and Trump. Xi's fate's pretty locked in. He's president for life. Trump is going to get reelected, and then he's done in 4 years. But also the fate of the world, he said. Soros also once again criticized Facebook for its failure to police the social media network. Quote, there's nothing to stop them. I think there is a kind of informational mutual assistance operation or agreement developing between Trump and Facebook. What? Soros said Facebook will work together to re-elect Trump, and Trump will work couldn't keep a straight face. Soros is saying Facebook will work together to re-elect Trump, and Trump will work to protect Facebook. And they say the conspiracy theories about Soros are bad. The conspiracy theories that Soros promotes are even worse. Trump, he said, is responsible for overheating the economy. And he said an overheated economy can't be kept boiling for too long. Soros also hit on these themes in previous Davos speeches last year. The philanthropist warned of the mortal danger of China's use of artificial intelligence to repress its citizens under the leadership of Xi, who he called the most dangerous opponent of democracies. Yeah, that I'll agree with. He also lashed out at social media giants, including Facebook and Google, saying they need to be regulated. This guy's insane, all right? And the lack of intellectual honesty is astonishing. It's astonishing. You're saying nationalism and authoritarianism in the same breath, and both quite breathlessly, which is a trick to do at the same time, despite them having completely different definitions, and they are not synonymous, and albeit can be used in concert, but not as replacements for one another. You can say that you're fighting nationalism and authoritarianism, but you can't say that you're fighting nationalism and then say that you're fighting authoritarianism as if you're talking about the same phenomenon. It doesn't work. What does work, leastways according to Dominic Izzo and other people he's worked with, is New Life Quantum Biofeedback. I haven't tried this yet, guys, but I've heard nothing but good things. So if you're interested in changing your life and changing your perspective and changing around how you view the world, New Year's Eve, you make another list of resolutions that you're never going to keep, not because you don't want to, but because your own mind will sabotage and stop you. But there's a way to remove all the subconscious blocks, negative thoughts, emotions, beliefs that are stopping you from achieving the goals that you have. It's a simple, proven way to remove the blocks that are in your way. Everything you ever wanted or envisioned, but have been unable to achieve because you lack willpower and you have self-limiting beliefs, Biofeedback neurofeedback is a simple passive way to reach your true potential by simply removing all the thoughts that are holding you back. It's a way to be truly limitless. The solution is New Life Quantum Biofeedback. This is the same biofeedback neurofeedback technology that is being used by the Mayo Clinic, that is also used by the Department of Defense, the Navy SEALs, the U.S. Olympics to achieve optimal performance levels. You can get sessions in their Chicago offices if you're in Chicagoland area, or remotely by phone. If you truly want to change your life, first you have to change your mind, and that's true no matter what. Call today to schedule your free consultation. Mention Mojo50 Radio and get $50 off of your first session. That's 1-888-4-BIO-LIFE, 1-888-4-BIOLIF, or go to newlifeholistic.com. That's newlifeholistic.com for New Life Quantum Biofeedback. You've tried everything else. Now try something that's proven, because your new life is waiting for you. So make sure you check that out today if you get the chance, and if you're interested in making a rather large change to your life. Now, it's been 3 years since we started this journey, you and I. And I want to speak to you directly as a friend. Because if you've listened to me this long, you know more about me than a lot of people. And I know the conversation often feels quite one way, but I've come to feel that you are my friend. You are all my friends. Because you've stuck with me through this, through thick and thin, from one network to the next. Through changes in the show, changes in my perspective, changes in how I present to you, changes in the stories that attract my attention. And more changes are coming. There's always more changes coming down the pike, and I thank you for sticking with me this long, and for continuing this incredible journey with me now at Mojo50. So on that note, happy 3rd anniversary. Good night. God bless you all. And God bless the United States of America. Here's to you. From Phoenix, I'm Matt Holloway. End transmission.